Thank you for listening to ShulchanAruch.com.
You go to the Arba Minim marketplace to buy yourself an Esrog, and you see people all the time looking and steering and analyzing the Esrog, and you're wondering, what exactly are they looking for? And what is it that I should be looking for when I go to purchase an Esrog, in order so I make sure that it is kosher and so it is mehudr to be used on Sukkos? So of the many things that are required for a valid Esrog, one of them is cleanliness from any color changes. And we will now analyze the halacha regarding when does a color change or a spat on an Esrog puzzle invalidate the Esrog for use, and when does the Esrog nonetheless remain kosher even if it has a color change. A simple example, you purchase an Esrog and now you notice that it has a white spat or a black spot, or it's full of leaf marks. May you initially purchase such an Esrog? What's the din if you already did? Can you be yetzer with such an Esrog? What's the law of Esrogim that have color spots on them? So one of the primary traditions that we received from Moses on Sinai, on the kashrus of an Esrog, is that it must be hadr, it must be beautiful. And due to this we have a halachic requirement that the Esrog must be of a solid color. And it can't be spotted, it can't be ugly. No freckles on the Esrog. However, there are differences of halachas in different scenarios, as we will now explain. First and foremost, we analyze the chaitim of the Esrog, which is considered the top area when you're holding the Esrog with the pitim facing upwards, the top area that slopes inwards towards the top. From that slant and onwards till the pitim is called the chaitim. It's considered the area that you look at first. It's the beauty of Esrog. That area cannot have even one freckle. Cannot have even one spot. Black, white, purple. If it's a change of a color that an Esrog normally doesn't grow in this color, such as black and white, then the Esrog is invalid even if there's only one spot in that area. So the first thing you want to look at in your Esrog is that the top area of the chaitim is clear of these spots and doesn't contain even one of them. So is recorded in the Shulchan Aruch in chapter 648, halacha 16 and 21 and 26 of the Alter Rebbe, based on the Shulchan Aruch of the Mechaber and the Gemara in Sukkah 35b, that the chaitim receives a special status of requirement of cleanliness, of color changes. Now the good news is, as writes the Alter Rebbe in halacha 22, based on the Magen Avram and Mabit, that a color change is only defined as a color change. A dot, a white dot, a black dot is only defined as a change that can invalidate the Esrog in the chaitim area if it's viewable and seeable at first sight from a normal distance of holding it. So you go to the marketplace, you picked up an Esrog, and bam, as soon as you lifted it up, you already notice a black spot or a white spot or a red spot or a blue spot. So there you know this Esrog is puzzle. You shouldn't buy, and you should tell the seller that it's a puzzle Esrog and nobody should be buying this Esrog for use over Sukkos. However, if when you picked it up it looked clean, and only after a careful analyzation of the eye did you suddenly pick up the freckles, you suddenly saw a black spot here, a white spot there, that is not considered a color change. It is not halachically invalidating, and this Esrog remains perfectly kosher for use throughout Sukkos. Now what about if this color change is not by the chaitim? The chaitim is clear, the top slope towards the pitim is beautifully clear, but under it, when you look at the Esrog itself below that sloped area, you see some spots. What's the halacha when the spots are below the chaitim? So the Alter Rebbe in halacha 26 and 648 equates the ruling of a change of color to the ruling of a blister, which is called a chazazis, as explained in halacha 19 through 20, based on the Gemara in Sukkah. And there the ruling is as follows. If you only have a single color change, one black dot, one white dot, etc. below the chaitim, it's kosher. That's the advantage of a color change below the chaitim versus in the chaitim, which would be invalid even if it's only one. So below the chaitim, if it's one, it's kosher. But if it's more than one, if it's two, then some opinions say it's always puzzle, while others say it depends on how much circumference of the Esrog it covers. Bottom line is, the way we rule lechatchila is that one should not purchase or use an Esrog that has two color changes, even if they are both below the chaitim, even if they're next to each other, such as two black spots, two white spots, etc. And only if there's no other Esrog available that you can't borrow from somebody else. And when you measure from one spot to the second spot, it doesn't take up my majority of the circumference of the Esrog's width or length, then you can use it even with a brach. However, once again, here too, the same law we said before applies only if this color change is viewable to the naked eye as soon as you lift up the esrog and not after a careful discerning and analyzation. All these halachas that we mentioned of a color change invalidating an esrog applies certainly on the first day of Sukkot, which is the Eraisa, and the Chatchila applies even during Chol Hamoed, unless one has absolutely no other esrog available. In which case, some poskim rule that a color change does not invalidate during Chol Hamoed, and you may use it even with a bracha if no other esrog is available. Now, are there any color changes that are seeable, viewable by first sight, that we disregard and say, this doesn't count, this is okay? So the poskim brings, according to the Alter Rebbe in Halacha 23 and 648, that a color change on the esrog that is the result of a puncture of a thorn, as is common when the thorn punctures the skin of the esrog on the tree, it becomes a little reddish and brownish. That color change is not a color change at all. It's considered the natural growth of the esrog and therefore does not invalidate it even though it looks brownish. So too bletlach, which are leaf marks, which are sometimes bumpy as well on the skin of the esrog. The Alter Rebbe rules based on the poskim, it is not invalid. Even if it's by the chaitim area, remains kosher. Likewise, a color change is only invalid when viewable at first sight if it's part of the actual esrog. If, however, it's external, such as black spots which are due to pesticide, and they can be removed, and if you can remove it, it's not a problem. And thus all black spots that are removable, the esrog is kosher. However, when removing it, one must be careful not to remove any of the skin of the esrog in a way that he reveals the white layer of the esrog, as that would invalidate the esrog due to menumer and due to the psul of chaser. To summarize, when you purchase an esrog, or if you've already purchased an esrog, you want to make sure that the top area called the chaitim, which is the slope towards the pitim, is clear of any color changes. No spots are seeable at first sight from a normal distance when you're holding it, unless it is a bletlach, a leaf mark, or a brown spot caused by a thorn, which will let go. It's okay even if it's in those areas. In the area below the chaitim, if there's only one color change, it's fine. But if there's more than one, then it's invalid. We don't use it lechatchila, and possibly even b'diavad, it's no good, as we explained before. So this is what you got to look out for when you're buying the esrog, and these are the standards of cleanliness that have to be followed regarding colors and spots.
Thank you for listening to ShulchanAruchHarav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at ShulchanAruchHarav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.